This is Pinstripe.
Ho ho ho, boys, girls, and everything in between. Welcome to Words of Ignorance, where I make short videos on short games for those who love gaming, but don't have a whole lot of time to do so. Today's game being a Pinstripe.
Which, isn't about Christmas in the slightest. But like, there's snow? Eh? Give me a break, okay? Pinstripe is a puzzle adventure game about retrieving what was oh so abruptly taken from you by a source of evil. Created pretty much solely by a one-man developer team, aka Thomas Brush, over the course of 5 years. This game is admirable. Far from perfect, but admirable nonetheless. Pinstripe starts you off on a moving train, where ex-minister and protagonist Ted is woken up by his 3-year-old daughter Bo. Rather than caring about her dad's health, she insists on playing detective and wants to investigate this weird smell. Having explored a few cards, they then stumble upon Mr. Obvious Evil himself.
Do you like balloons? How about a shiny black one?
Man, this is one cool ass villain. Reminds me of fucking Melvin Ishtar in this one clip.
But before we begin this duel to the death, I have just one question. Could I get a hug?
I'm not going to hug you.
Maybe we should hug him, Bakura. I mean, he seems like an okay guy.
Marek, that's your evil alter ego. He killed your father and made your life a living hell, remember?
Hug!
A couple cards later, the pair then finds a smelly sack. Bo gets distracted by a balloon that surely has nothing to do with Mr. Sig over here, and thinks following the thing all on her own is just a splendid idea. Of course she gets kidnapped. What did you think would happen? Look at this guy, man. He's evil. The Shadow Man, later revealed to be Mr. Title of the game himself, takes Bo with him, exclaiming she will soon call him father. Okay. So now it is up to Ted to conquer the depths of Pinstripe's idea of actual hell and retrieve his beloved little daughter from his evil hands. Thanks to the magic of plot development, the technological masterpiece that is the fading black screen, and an implied by the environment train crash, Ted starts his heroic adventure in the winter wonderland of Edgewood. And to get to Pinstripe's evil yet somehow cozy residence and rescue Bo, you run around to solve puzzles to unlock areas to solve puzzles in. Nothing too crazy, but an enjoyable couple of hours nonetheless. A memory order minigame to wake up a monster, the good old seek the differences, jumping on a branch in an attempt to kill a guy high out of his mind? Whoa. There's also the more advanced puzzles that require some thought and or hand-eye coordination, requiring you to take a glance at your item pouch, or whatever the environment is presenting you, to open up a toy box, set the time using cutlery, and use the enemy to blow up a spotlight, to dismantle the traffic light, controlling a cage, to save your dog you didn't even know you were the owner of.
Thanks for that, Ted. I was wondering if I was ever gonna get out of that thing.
And George is a little bitch. I can't lie. I still love him though. George over here and the headlamp are used to add a thin extra layer to the gameplay, respectively used to sniff paw prints to find plot progression, and allowing for the spooky, dim-lit, hell type areas. But it's the fucking slingshot that's so unnecessarily satisfying to just spam, and for no apparent reason. Like, it's the most used tool of them all, being used to solve puzzles, break objects, and even combat Pinstripe. But intentionally, and also unintentionally, it just adds a whole lot of comedic value. Upon entering any area, I just started shooting a bunch of shit to see if anything would happen. And it proved itself to be the good old reliable, whenever the course of action was unclear. Something that, unfortunately, happens rather frequently in this game. For me at least. The game has no intention of building a compelling story or introducing complicated gameplay mechanics. It just keeps things unembellished to let the exploration and environmental storytelling, as well as the beautiful gloomy art style, a melancholic atmosphere, and dreamy soundtrack take the center stage. But all that comes at the cost of the flow of the game. There often is no clear explanation and/or indication regarding who or what you're supposed to interact with, in what type of manner, and me admittedly not being the most advanced problem solver, it wasn't really helping either. I often found myself running around for quite a while because the next move wasn't all that obvious to me. And then, as you're about to reach the final area, the game completely stops you in your tracks by asking you to pay 300 frozen drops, aka the game's slingshot out objects currency, for a fucking lift ticket. Which the game never tells you about, but you wouldn't have upon reaching it if you did anyway, as a good batch of them are locked behind a story progression. It's a backtrack, is what I'm getting at. A rather enjoyable backtrack, with a bunch of cool puzzles at that. Like this balloon minigame detecting mouse, keyboard, or controller and adjusting the speed accordingly. But still a backtrack. To the very first area, no less. And I don't like that. It to an extent undermines the atmospheric experience they were going for. And I think it could have provided just that otherwise. I mean, the game's artistic direction alone is more than enough to achieve a sense of immersion. It's an animated, illustration-type beat, conveying a cute and cozy, yet eerie and dark aura. Through the usage of warmer and brighter colors, contrasting with the darker character color palettes and the overarching feel of the game. I dig the added detail to strengthen the story in the form of these fake wall writings or the ominous final destination looming in the background. But I also fuck with the quote-unquote meaningless additional detail, like the wobbly lights doing the wobble, the snowflakes falling down, being able to inhale the burnt smell of hell through its red and black artistic design, and the burnt coal particles coming down from above. It could have provided an atmospheric experience, but is once again undermined by, in this case, a well-written cast of characters. I know, this sounds like a contradiction, and it kinda is. But it's also not meant to be a critique. Every single character is memorable in their own way, and fully voiced by fucking PewDiePie? I was mad impressed by the quality of the voice acting and was absolutely gobsmacked upon finding out the cast consisted of a bunch of YouTubers. Alongside the solid dialogue, they did a great job at shaping these characters. However, the dialogue frequently is a whole lot of pee-pee and poo-poo type of jokes. Now I, a 26-year-old man who will never fully grow up, I like that goofy shit. Entering Pissword Falls, goofy ass paintings comparing this guy called Nathan to Jesus, the whole gang being addicted to and hypnotized by a drug called Sec, opening up the opportunity to write a character wanting to suck Pinstripe Sec dry, and how there's nothing like a Pinstripe Sec juice. There's even a zero influence on the plot karma system that just wants you to be a complete asshole to the elderly and making fun of your dog for being scared of balloons for no reason every single time you talk to anybody. And I mean,
What a beautiful signature.
I really ain't the right guy to hate on this. But I fully understand this being a mood killer to some. Not to mention the atmospheric, eerie vibe. And getting shattered to pieces. Pinstripe is alright. It's fun for the short little adventure it is, but I was surprised to see how many reviews are praising this thing, like it can do no wrong. The gameplay is fun enough, but the flow of exploration is brought down by the lack of instructions and a massive backtrack near the end. The puzzles aren't the most engaging or inventive things I have ever seen, And that... Ted controls like he skipped leg day, man. I also have no idea why they put in these two fighting segments, where you have to touch this thing's booty, that doesn't fight back whatsoever. It feels like an afterthought to add a sense of variety. An atmospheric adventure like this, it just doesn't need, man. And let's be honest here, it doesn't really achieve that either. And because of the overly humorous approach to the characters and general lack of a story, meant to be told through the environments that aren't strong and remarkable enough to carry the weight of the plot, like i.e. Journey magnificently was able to achieve. It's just running around and solving puzzles until you reach Pinstripe and Bo, which is an abrupt snoozer ending in and of its own. As Pinstripe allegedly irreversibly converts Bo to an evil creature, but is reversed within a handful of minutes by vaguely going through a mirror after beating Pinstripe in a very easy boss fight. Anyway, the ending's about as vague and underwhelming as the start, and getting a key to unlock new areas, but having to start the adventure from scratch again. That also just rubbed me the wrong way, man. Pinstripe to me is a game with interesting enough ideas, gorgeous graphics, and a valiant effort at being atmospheric, but ultimately falls a little flat because it tries to be way too many things all at once. But I mean, it at least brought me the snowy Christmas vibes I was looking for, despite having to do fuck all with the holiday. And in the end, that's all I was really looking for. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Bitches.